Well, hello, beautiful spirits. Hello. It is I, Whimsy, your favorite oracle, here to comfort you as you grieve this election. I know many of you wanted Harris to win, but alas, it was not in the cards. I do think that people confuse the readers a lot. They confuse me with Linda. Sometimes they call me Linda, sometimes they call me Lena. Um, I'll tell you what happened to me as a reader. I felt like I was in as a psychic, as a remote viewer. There's a couple things that went wrong with me. I'll just talk about what went wrong with me. Um, when a person wants something really, really badly and they themselves are attached or they have desire to that thing, it is the kiss of death to you as a psychic, because now you have an emotional attachment to the outcome and you have lost the ability to be objective about the thing that you're attempting to find data or information about. So, in the case of Trump winning the election, I had a bias. I had a very clear bias, which is that I was very invested in wanting Harris to win. So this was the first thing that went wrong, was that I cared about wanting her to win. And the second thing that went wrong was that I cared about all of you. I wanted all of you to be happy. When I went into the remotes and I went into the cards, he looked pretty good, Trump. It looked like he could win this thing. And I said to people, live, Trump's cards are pretty good. He could win this thing. Well, people got very upset with me. People unsubscribed. I don't want to hear this crap. Kamala's going to win. So then the next day I came on and I said, do you people want the truth, or do you want me to tell you what you want to hear? Well, we want the truth. We want the truth. Well, the truth is, I said that Trump could win this thing. Now, I've made some videos about how I believe that liberals could win, that the Democrats could win. Like, we need to talk about immigration. We need to talk about the issues that are concerning to Americans, which was inflation, etc., getting the cost of groceries down. Yes, we talked about it, but we couldn't blame Trump for the economic problems. So it fell on Harris and Trump. If you're going into the energy as a remote viewer of what it was like to be that person who voted for Trump, this is a person that maybe they voted for Trump, thought he was a horrible person, then decided, what the hell, I'll vote for Biden, then felt that Biden was a complete disaster. Here is how they felt. Don't argue with me. My job is to be an empath. I felt as the other, like when I was in Nevada, I knew she was in trouble in Nevada because of the energy I felt in Nevada. I felt like the Biden Harris administration had opened the door to a bunch of illegals, and we got stuck having to pay for the whole damn thing. We got stuck having to pay our extra taxes, inflation, everything is expensive. And they're just, we can't even pay rent. We can't even pay for our homes. Regular Americans who worked hard, were born here, and they're just opening the door and to anybody and everybody. I'll never make the mistake of voting for a Democrat again. That's how I felt as the person voting for Trump. So I found myself in a really ethical problem, because on the one hand, the worst thing you can do during a campaign is to be Debbie Downer. Well, we're going to lose, we're going to lose, we're going to lose, we're going to lose. Well, you cannot talk like that a week out of a campaign. You've got to be hopium, right? You ever watch the guy who does hopium? We're going to win. It's going to be a dogfight, but we're going to win. So I was listening to the same thing that the rest of you were, that, okay, she's going to win. It's going to be tough, but she's going to pull this off. Americans are not going to vote for a guy who engineered January 6th and rapes women in department stores. I have to believe that. I have to believe that for my own sanity. And so I would go back and talk to the team. We're going to do this, but I had a feeling this guy could win this thing. And if I say he is going to win, if I make that prediction, and I didn't, I said he could win this thing. She's going to win if we get out the vote. I don't want to influence the campaign in a negative way, because if I say, first off, I don't believe anyone can see the picture, can see the future. We can feel energy as an HCRV practitioner, as a remote viewer. I can feel how somebody feels and get inside their head and tell you what they're up to and what they'll most likely do. I felt that in many ways Trump had quit, that he was going through all this thing, having to do all these performances to pay off massive amounts of debts that were being paid, that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and billionaires were using him as a Manchurian candidate, that he kind of didn't even really want to be there. The best thing he could do is not show up, which is why he basically walked out of the CNN debate. He walked out of the 60 Minutes interview. He just took off and went to play golf. He just took off. It was a feeling of having quit. At the same time, the energy, he could win this thing. So all of those things have to be worked out in your head if you're a psychic, if you're a remote viewer. But nobody can read the future like that, you guys. I mean, I know reader, of course, readers all make mistakes. It's more interesting to try and get into people's heads and minds and what are they thinking and why are they thinking it. That is a better predictor of the future than anything else I have found. What I want to do is I want to see whether or not Trump is even going to be in office or if he's going to be removed before January. Because, by the way, it's good to see you guys, even though you all are yelling at me. Yeah, I was in a tough situation because I didn't want to influence you guys to be, well, why vote? Whimsy says he's going to win. And then it looks like I'm influencing it the other way. So instead, you have to temper it with, he could win. Here is how, if you go back and look at the videos I wrote, how she wins. Do you remember those videos I made? No. How we win, if we win, the way that I was couching statements. So yeah, I don't want to have a negative influence on the campaign. I want to be able to tell you guys the truth, but I want to be able to do it in a way where you guys aren't going to be losing hope, right? So I feel like I was as responsible as I could be without having a negative influence on the campaign. I think that it was a flawless campaign from what I saw that Harris did. There's not a lot you can do to defend yourself when your opponent is telling people you're a prostitute and a streetwalker, and they believe it. You know, that women of color are just prostitutes, right? So this speaks to the level of racism also that we're dealing with. But I'm going to try and get into throw some cards about the future of Trump. Are they going to just Article 25 and send him off to the loony farm, or is this guy actually going to serve? Because there's a possibility this guy's not going to serve. So let's take a look at the future Trump presidency. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. All right, the future Trump pregnancy. For up-to-date health information, you will no longer be able to go to the CDC for accurate information because they will probably cut funding to the CDC. The CDC gets its information by pooling information with the World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization gets its data from disease institutes all over the world, et cetera. And then WHO shares it with the CDC, et cetera. So if we don't know what the hell is going on, just go to the World Health Organization. That was where we got our COVID information when Trump was attempting to suppress COVID data. And I say that because it looks like they're going to be cutting education and also public health. Now, the problem with cutting public health is that if we get a virus like Ebola, which kills 99% of the population, it would be the end of America. There would be no more. The big threat would then be viruses more than nuclear weapons or anything else if we can't get control over the CDC. The first thing that he wants to do is to reestablish his relationships with people abroad. This is the first thing I feel as Trump. I can start talking to those world leaders again, people that didn't want to talk to me that much, or I couldn't get as much attention as I wanted from Pooty Face because Putin thought that maybe Harris was going to be the next president. So I didn't get his attention. So Three of Wands, Trump is wanting to reestablish those trade routes, that open communication. And then we have the Moon card, which would indicate that he is increasing mental health problems. So we have this lunacy and lunacy over his foreign involvements. Three of Wands, waiting for the ship to come in. He got his wish. It can also be importing and exporting trade, and there's confusion over it. Where he's at right now, Six of Cups, wants to establish. So he's ready to go. His first thing in office is his first thing that he wants, that Elon Musk wants, is to end the sanctions on Russia so that they can begin doing business and trade again, which is costing Tesla money and it's costing SpaceX money. They want their research and they can't do it with the existing sanctions. So here you have this Six of Cups moving in, which is, hey, baby, remember your old friend Donnie? And here, ships coming in and confusion. Going back to the people he loves, soulmate. And then the crossing card is the sun's coming out. So no more war, right? No more war. It's all coming to an end because we're not going to have trade route wars anymore. We're not going to have trade route wars anymore because Putin won. If you go back and look at the video I did on Putin, by the time you realize what I've done, it'll already be too late. I'll have taken control of South America. I'll have taken control of all these countries. I want my trade. I want my trade back. What is above Trump? He will take the weapons of war from his enemies. He will disarm and dismantle people who are threatening him. So the first thing he's going to do is he's going to contact his buddies in Europe, the Kremlin. And then the next thing is he's going to take the weapons of war away. He wants to help someone, possibly in banking or economically. He's coming out of smoother waters and he's headed towards the Empress. So he's going to have access to unlimited power and unlimited wealth, the Empress. So they're going to open up the bank to him. Now he's got the entire U.S. economy sitting in his hands. The Empress is now in the sixth house. He's getting the Empress. Where he's at right now, Four of Pentacles, frugal. He was in serious financial problems. Possibly there's frugality here, poverty. He was selling sneakers. The opposition, Ace of Wands. We have power with the opposition. So his opposition would be Adam Schiff, and the Democrats remain strong, Ace of Wands. Despite the fact that they lost seats, you have this strong Ace of Wands feeling coming in that these are people that are ready to fight and they're ready to win. The hope and fear at this time, King of Wands. He's still afraid of the Justice Department. Of course, he's going to have to fire Merrick Garland on some grounds. Who knows what the hell it will be. Glad to see him go, quite frankly. I wasn't. Fear of Jack Smith, I think, King of Wands. And then final outcome is there's a health, something coming up with his health. There's a health concern that comes out of nowhere for Trump. There may be a health problem that Trump is having, and it may have to do with an addiction of some type. You know, he's addicted to junk food, and I can completely relate to that because if I could, I would be eating McDonald's, right? Like that food is delicious, right? So if I wasn't a naturopathic doctor, right, I would be going for those fish witch. I love those fish witch sandwiches, right? So he had the Four of Pentacles with him, which is a card that would denote frugality, that he was holding on to his coin, and then a new beginning awaits him. His opposition, the Devil, addiction, and Ace of Wands. It can be a codependent relationship with the Devil, and then Ace of Wands. I think he sold his soul to the Russians. I really do. His hopes and fears, women and Jack Smith, the female power dancing around him. It's like we're not done with him. We're not done making mischief with him. And then the final outcome for him, his health and temperance, which is the Temperance Society. Also, you think about temperance or being sober. With this card here as his opposition, eighth house is your opposition. It can be your enemy's house, who you're having problems with, or what you're having a problem with, addiction. A health challenge coming in because of an addiction. Like I said, if he gets colon cancer, supposedly has some digestive upset, that could be related to a food addiction or an addiction to junk food. But the best way for me to interpret this is that he has some kind of crisis due to an addiction, that he struggles with addiction. I would also say, with the Devil card in the eighth house, that he is somebody who may have unhealthy relationships with other people, like possibly because of his relationship with Russia. All right, a couple quick questions people wanted to know. Will he get into the White House? Will he get in, or will he be stopped before he gets through the front door? Because they're talking about Article 25. Okay, you guys win. You can put Vance in there, but you can't let this guy in the front door. You know he's insane. Let's just see what happens there. Are they going to Article 25 this guy? The sun is coming out over him, so his cards are optimistic. His opposition is the High Priestess, growing evidence. Remember, he did not release his medical records. Hopes and fears, Eight of Swords. Could be happening very quickly. There are people that helped him get elected. This is the message. There are people that helped him get elected that own him. There are people that helped him get elected that will take him out. They've got a lot of evidence against him if they wanted to use it against him. Because of what he's done, but so he's the Queen of Wands, Oshun, the goddess of luxury. That's definitely his Orisha, the one that rules his head. The sun coming out, but you can see this high priestess moves in and takes the weapons of war away as his opposition. That's interesting. Trying to get people back with him, Six of Cups, and then the final, excuse me, the final outcome, Four of Wands, a new beginning, happens very quickly. So I don't see them taking him out in chains anytime soon, but I'm going to take a look at J.D. Vance and see what J.D. Vance's future is. Queen of Pentacles, his clerk, his business person, money, handling the family finances, handling the business. The Empress, he does very well for himself. He's stressed out because of the crazy things that Trump does that he can't control for because it's associated with him. You can see here the business person being driven crazy by the opposition. He's now bound to the crazy president who got the job. The hopes and fears, the Queen of Swords. That could be legal problems or legal problems in the future. And then the final outcome for him, King of Wands with the Empress. I don't see Article 25 at this time. Instead, it's more that J.D. Vance has to pull himself in knots in order to work with this president. All right. I think I'm going to end it now. Take heart. There are a lot of good people in D.C., and I think that we could see America moving towards amendments, like an amendment, Roe v. Wade and the ERA. It all needs to come together as an amendment so that ultimately Americans are not at the mercy of the Supreme Court regarding this issue. I will ask that quickly. Will the ERA and a woman's right to choose be codified as an amendment in the Constitution? Since that's what people want. Lovers. Partnership. Yes, it is very likely that Roe v. Wade would be embraced in the Constitution without much of an argument from many conservatives because it would be going through the amendment process. So you have the lovers coming in, a partnership with the American people, wish granted, moves very quickly, Ace of Wands. So if we truly want to save our country and protect our country, the best place to go forward in terms of women's rights so that we never have to worry about these problems in the future is that we will create amendments to bypass the courts. All right. Thank you, everybody. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find the information below. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.